How you doing, sir?
I'm great, Cam. How are you doing? I'm a little cold, though.
Yeah, I understand. I'm sharing your pain tonight. I feel like Bill Clinton here. So I got to ask you, has your phone been ringing off the hook since this plan to cut city services to 20% of Detroit has been announced?
I've been getting an increase in phone calls, but it hasn't been specifically due to the administration's plan of relocating large populations of people in the city. It's been more or less because of the violence we've been seeing unfolding before our very eyes. There's been a couple of high-profile situations that happened here over the last couple of weeks, man. It's got a lot of people concerned.
Yeah, what's been going on?
Well, I mean, we had the one case about a week or two ago where the one gentleman was killed at 3 o'clock in the morning at a gas station, and they captured it all on video. You know, he basically didn't have anything of value, but they shot him point-blank range in the chest with a 12-gauge shotgun and killed him.
Oh, my God.
You know, and then we had the thing where they finally got a hold of catching the guys that attacked this 85-year-old woman. You know, they were out supposedly raking her leaves, and then after they finished cleaning up, they attacked her, you know. So.
Mm-hmm. You know, you hear about what's going on, Rick, and it just breaks my heart because, you know, the violence in Detroit, and it just seems like the city is unable to cope with its problems these days.
Well, I mean, we're in the middle of a recession. I remember when Coleman Young was mayor many years ago, he used to say when the country catches a cold, you know, Detroit catches the flu. And we're not in a very good way economically here. Unemployment's relatively high. Joblessness is up there. People are desperate. We have a large population of individuals that are on the street that probably shouldn't be. Every time you turn, well, I'm not going to say every time, but a good percentage of the time you turn on the news and you find out they caught somebody, it's somebody that's out on parole that just got out of prison that perhaps shouldn't have gotten out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, to add to this, I mean, you've got, as the mayor points out, you've got a lot of neighborhoods with a lot of abandoned homes. The population density is not what it was even 30 years ago. You've got a lot of blighted neighborhoods, and you know, these vacant homes, they tend to attract bad actors, Rick, and so you know, you've got bad guys moving into a lot of neighborhoods that even a few years ago would have been considered relatively safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rather controversial plan. Supposedly, from what I've heard, that they've identified 7 to 9, quote, viable, end quote, neighborhoods that they want to funnel everyone into. They haven't identified these 7 to 9 neighborhoods. We don't know what people from what area they plan to ask to move, and you know that's one thing. You can ask someone to move, but that doesn't mean that they're going to. So now the city is saying, well, they're going to have to offer these people some significant incentives to move. So I don't know if they're going to pay them to move or give them significant upgrades to residences that are better than their current accommodations. And what if, you know, for whatever reason, someone doesn't want to move? You know, he's threatening, you know, to not have services in that area. You know, we're talking about, well, for someone who's in a home that they've lived in their entire life and they don't want to move, that he's not going to send in police, fire, offer 911 services, garbage collection. Is that what he's talking about?
Well, I mean, you kind of...
That doesn't even strike me personally as legal, especially if you're taxing people.
Well, you're right. I mean, it seems to me like the plan is, all right, 20% of Detroit's going to be a no man's land, and you know, you take your safety into your own hands if you live there, because we're not, again, when they talk about denying key municipal services, what are those key municipal services if not what you just mentioned: fire service, police service, garbage, and you know, these are some real questions here that haven't been answered.
No, they haven't been answered, and I think they're dawdling, you know, maybe hoping that the public will discuss it and try to flesh out for them what's acceptable. Personally, I don't think it is acceptable. You can't just, you know, tell folks they're on their own. No, you can't do that.
So what do you
and make people move.
what's the first step that you would take, Rick, in fixing Detroit?
My first step would be a bold step, man. My first step would be I would boldly tell folks, look, back in 1984, 85, there were 5,000 police officers on the street. Currently, there's an estimated 2,200 servicing the same 193 square miles of the city of Detroit. I would advise folks to exercise more responsibility for their safety and to go out and buy a handgun. I just spoke with the chief of police at a Board of Police Commissioners meeting last Thursday.
Yeah.
And he looked me dead in my eye and told me he's pro-gun for law-abiding citizens who obey the law. And then, 3-4 days later, he's announcing a gun buyback program. So I really don't know how to take that.
Well, yeah, I don't know how to take that either. I guess, I don't know. Sometimes maybe these folks are misguided, but that doesn't seem to be a very pro-gun thing to do. If you're pro-gun, you know what? Don't do a gun buyback. Hold a gun giveaway for poor residents in Detroit.
Well, here's the thing. He floated to me his rationale. His rationale, as he told me face-to-face, was that he saw some study somewhere that criminals get their guns by taking them from people's homes. So I guess he'd rather take the guns than have the criminals supposedly take the guns, and that's going to make the city safe. And, we know how preposterous that whole little line of logic is.
Yeah, we do. Well, Rick, again, I appreciate you coming on the program, sir. You're sort of our go-to guy when it comes to Detroit, and I sure hope that city can turn itself around. And in the meantime, you stay safe out there, all right?
I definitely will, Cam, and thanks for having me on. Give my regards to Eric and Mr. Pop.
I will do so, sir. We'll talk to you again very soon.